Tonight, on a Nation Sports Show, we continue our NFL divisional previews for 2023. Tonight, we switch over to the NFC Conference. Tonight, we preview the NFC South and the NFC North, plus in the NBA. Drama surrounds James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers. Is Harden's days in Philadelphia in jeopardy? We break down all of this and more. It's showtime.
From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Yeah. Here we are. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, and you know what that means. You wanted the best, you got the best when it comes to the world of sports and discussing it. That is our Nation Sports Show, and I am Nezra here. New lighting, who dis? New lighting, who dis? Just kidding, folks. It's just having a little bit of fun here. We are ready to rock and roll with you tonight. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, NFC North, NFC South coverage, plus whatever we get into in the world of sports. So let's not waste any time. But first, we got to tell you about the ways you can interact with us. Excuse me. You can follow us at Owen_Sports Show on Twitter, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and Instagram.com/Our Nation Sports Show. You can also follow the individual guys on all their social media on Twitter. You can also, and don't forget to follow our crew, The Nation's Corner, as well. Deb Housen, Mongrovian Mike, Front Row, Tony Justice, and whoever else they decide to bring on. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, same time as this show on youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. Follow them on there. They'll talk everything pro wrestling, as we love pro wrestling too, but their specialty is pro wrestling, and they'll be talking all about it. All the news, all the greatest stuff, whether it be Mission Pro, NWA, AEW, New Japan, GCW, WWE, whatever it is, they'll talk about it and they'll discuss it in detail. So definitely don't forget to check them out. Nation's Corner, once again, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. And don't forget also to follow my crew at Too Sweet Cosplay. We will be at least hanging around StarCast coming up. No booth, no, probably a small photo shoot somewhere. All those details coming soon. So don't forget to follow us on at Too Sweet Cosplay across all socials. All right, enough of my yakking. Let's go ahead and get everybody here introduced. And of course, we start off with our buddy here, the number one Alabama fan here in this crew. That is our good boy JT, Joey Thornton. What's up, boy?
What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday. And wait a minute, I think I'm hearing something. I think it's that's right. It is a ticking clock, which means football season is getting ever so closer. Tonight we are talking about the NFC North, the NFC South, which I think we can all agree is going to be the most trashiest division in NFL football this year, but I digress. But let's go.
Yes, sir, definitely. And of course, we can't forget about the man here, the leader of the Niner gang himself. He is truly one of a kind. He is like RVD. He truly is one of a kind. The one, the only. KR Kevin Rory. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be back this week. Feeling a lot better. And Yeah, I'm ready to talk about this NFC South and NFC North. So let's go.
Yes, we got a lot to talk about to get into. We're going to get into that shortly. And of course, we can't go without the patriarch of this show, my heavy metal brother, as always, from North Carolina. He's always back for more when it comes to the sports show. Let me tell you. He's always back. He was always back for more, and trust me when I say this, he will go round and round when it comes to this. And that is my buddy, Big Stevie Wyand. What's up, brother?
And right about now, we're about to lay it down because you're in trouble, baby. A lot of rat references right now to start off the show. And boy, we are fired up to talk about the world of sports. And we are getting so close to NFL season kicking off next month. And tonight we continue our NFL season coverage as far as previewing these divisions. And we switch over to the NFC South and North. And we get to talk about our favorite clown in the NBA at some point tonight. Thank you, Mr. James Harden, for giving us even more content to absolutely humiliate you. And with that being said, let's go.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to talk about Mr. James Harden in just a few minutes. The first thing I want to talk about real quick, I want to mention is you know, when you talk about the NBA, of course, you talk about, you know, the NBA preseason. You talk about G League. You talk about a lot of stuff going on in Vegas. One of the coolest things in Vegas right now going on is the NBA coverage going on. But there's a building in Vegas called the Sphere. One of the coolest things about the Sphere is that it is a 360-degree almost visual and audio spectacle. Well, in this case, it wasn't no different because the Sphere, being shaped as its name suggests, a giant globe, a giant sphere, has outside video screens that can turn into whatever it wants. A giant eyeball, a version of the world, whatever it be, a baseball. This time, it turned into a giant basketball. And it's a cool thing. So if you guys look up Sphere and look up NBA on social media, and you'll see it, and it is absolutely badass, and it's cool. But getting into the NBA real quick, before we get into James Harden, some news about so real quick, don't forget I think it was last week we had the class of 2023 Hall of Fame, and everybody got their induction speeches. Of course, Dwayne Wade, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, you know, and of course, him in Indiana's own Coach Maryville, Indiana's own Greg Popovich. So it was an exciting time getting to see all those great legends get enshrined into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame where they belong. Definitely congratulations to all those guys and Becky Hammond as well. So congratulations to all the guys and gals for what they did in the world of sports, and glad they were able to have their moment the other night. So congratulations to them on that front. Let's get right into it. And that is the ongoing saga known as, no, we're not talking about Aaron Rodgers here this time. We're talking about James Harden. James Harden came out the other day in a statement, according to local reports. It called the owner of the 76ers a liar. This seems to develop and get more ugly as he calls him a liar. This is Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he is a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. In other words, James Harden wants out. More drama coming down in Philly since Ben Simmons decided not to work out. Both in playing and in physical health, but I digress. It's once again James Harden. Once again, drama involving the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, he's looking to get, apparently he does not want to be there anymore. So the question I have for you guys is this. What's your opinion on the whole James Harden saga? And if he leaves, where do you see him going from here? And you know what? since he was off last week because of obviously some health issues, and I know he's got probably a nugget or two to speak about this. KR, Kevin, Rory, you take it.
Man, James Harden, this ain't the first time in two organizations where he forced his way out or made it seem like a big soap opera, and it probably won't be the last time. I mean, you look at how he did Houston, the team he dominated with back in 2017, 2018. He gets pissed off, he gets sad, upset, and he wants out. He puts on a fat suit. He acts like he puts on 400 pounds, like he belongs at defensive tackle for the New England Patriots or something. But in reality, he just wanted to get out of the organization. Okay, he goes to Brooklyn, fine and dandy, new start. Didn't even last a year or 2 years. After a year, he wants out. So with the Sixers simultaneously had their own beef going on with Ben Simmons, and it's a match made in heaven because it's a perfect soap opera. It's like an episode of Dr. Phil right here, watching James Harden and Daryl Morey in the Sixers organization in therapy together because neither one of them knows how to get their shit straight. And I tried to sit there and soak it in and understand exactly what is going on. And the way I read it, James Harden wasn't wrong, but his past is literally making it hard for people to understand where he's coming from. Because I read that they had a verbal agreement that, okay, hey, you pick up your $35 million player option, we'll trade you. We just don't do right by us so we can get some value back for you. Okay, Harden agrees. I accept my player option for this season so I can find like a trade partner, whatever, get some assets back. So Harden agrees. Harden says, okay, I'll do it. And the Sixers apparently went back on their word because just reports 24 hours after Harden said that in China about he's a liar, reports saying Daryl Morey now expects Harden to be at training camp for this season and playing this season. And that was kind of like a double standard, and Harden took offense to it. And I honestly, Harden's a drama queen, yes, but was he wrong? No, I don't think he was, but for about getting mad, but should he done it in public and this and that? No, he should have just went to Daryl Morey in his office like a professional. You don't air out dirty laundry because that's how you make a national meme of yourself. Ask Ben Simmons. That's exactly how you get the public to hate you more than they already have because of you being a drama queen. So just like the Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, he's just digging himself a deeper hole. And from my understanding, the Sixers were kind of trying to prove a point because Harden, and all respect to Damian Lillard, but what Damian Lillard's doing is really setting a bad standard for the league, saying, I want to be traded, but I only want to go to Miami. I refuse to play for anybody else. And Harden, from what I understand, is doing the same thing, and it kind of pissed the front office off, saying, I want to get traded to the Clippers. I want to play with PG and Kawhi, and I'm not going anywhere else. So it's just like, come on, dude. It's too much power in the players' hands. And Harden it's turning players into crybabies. And that's just the fact of the matter. Like most players now, half of them are just fucking crybabies that's around the league. We see Kyrie Irving. We see now you see James Harden been like that. Ben Simmons. It's just more and more frequent.
And there's a lot of great points you made there, Kev. And I'll add to that because honestly, what this reminds me of the way Philadelphia is treating Harden, just like how the Portland Trailblazers are treating their star player, Damian Lillard, and how Lillard wants to go only to Miami. And Harden wants to go to the Clippers to play with his buddies down there. And I think the way Portland is handling this, I think the way Philadelphia is handling this, like, they're basically showing these star players that, look, just because you may have the money, just because you may be a star caliber athlete, just because you may be a bona fide superstar, you're not just going to get your way like these players used to, like how LeBron used to force trades and forced signings, when he was a part of the Heat and, going back to the Cavaliers and getting the players that he wanted and then getting the players that he wanted to join him and Anthony Davis in Los Angeles. I mean, this is very similar to a lot of the super teams that have been put together in years past. But now owners are starting to catch up on this, this stuff, and just the way these players are carrying themselves because they see championships in sight because obviously Kevin Durant in 16 and 17 won back-to-back championships during those season campaigns with the Golden State Warriors. And if KD didn't get hurt in 18-19, they would have won a third championship. Let's be bygones, be bygones. But Harden has not been back to the NBA Finals in 11 seasons? 11, 12 seasons? I mean, it's remarkable how him and Westbrook and Durant got the one finals together, and Harden or Westbrook have not been back to the NBA championship series, and Durant's won 2 championships. And Harden is a desperate man because he knows that his window of opportunity of winning a championship, it is getting slimmer and slimmer. And I understand, if he's not happy with Philadelphia, okay, whatever, fine. But there is a better way to handle situations and be a professional than be a whiny little baby, and just complaining. Because by him complaining, and what is that doing? Nothing. It's not solving anything. He's just making it worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This whole thing has been full of drama ever since this story came out. And look, Harden, if this is true and what Kevin was reading is correct, if Harden's not doing right by them and not deciding to do right by them just to get it done and get it out of the way, then he's in the wrong. It's pretty simple. Harden has always had a history of drama and issues and all that stuff, and it just seems like another problem that he's just putting not only in front of the Sixers but putting in front of himself. And he's basically let's just say he's hitting the self-destruct button on himself.
Yeah,
basically. And it's to me it's borderline ridiculous. I mean, come on, man, you should know this. You should know this shit by now. You're a vet. You've been close to the championship glory. You've done a lot of great things, but in the end, your own ego is getting in the way of things that you should be doing. You should be doing right by the team, even though you don't agree with them. Just get it done. Take your player option, trade, be happy. Bye-bye. That's all that needs to be done.
He is not loyal at all. He has never been loyal to any team that he has been a part of after leaving Oklahoma City. That's why he needs to join the
Lakers so him and LeBron could be freaking together.
Oh, that would be a match made in heaven because, they'd be ball hogging each other.
But here's what I don't understand, guys. The professional in me says, why can't he it's 1 year. It's a player option. He has 1 year. You're making, by God, $35 million, something no other team would pay you if you was a free agent. Why not just shut your mouth, suck it up for 1 year? You're still getting big money. Just play this year out, be a free agent, go where the fuck you want next year. And why are you crying about it? I could see if it was like Kevin Durant situation. Like, that's why I've never hated on Durant for wanting out of Brooklyn, because he had 5 years left on his contract. Like, okay, he knows where he's stuck. Harden had 1 year an option for an extremely lucrative contract, and he just is crying about that? Come on, man.
Joey?
Yes, Alice, can I get NBA drama for 2000, please? This is like a Cinderella story gone completely wrong here. Because, like you guys have said, James Harden has not been loyal in any aspect for any team he's played on, except for maybe the 1-2 brief years that he, Russ, and Durant were a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder team. That's probably the only time he's ever been loyal. But it seems like everywhere that he's gone, he's had something to complain about. whether it's the money, the playing time, the coaches, the owners, the players. I mean, when is this drama going to end? Oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and answer that question for you. Never. It's never going to end because as long as James Harden is at the wheel of all this nonsense, drama is going to keep coming from left, from the right, from the north, from the south, from the east, and from the west. I mean, James Harden, all he's doing, he is just drawing more attention to himself because he thinks that, oh, I'm the biggest superstar in the NBA. I deserve to win an NBA championship. I don't have a ring on my finger, so I gotta find some way to draw some attention to me. And that's exactly what he's doing with all this bull crap. I mean, yes, James Harden might be in the right when he calls Daryl Morey a liar, but exactly what is he lying about? I mean, that's what I want to know. James Harden is just a drama queen. He is, he might as well just trade in his basketball jersey, shorts, and cleats for a crown, ballet slippers, and a tutu at this point. Because as long as James Harden, like I said, is at the wheel of all this drama, it's just going to keep coming. And until James Harden can grow a set and actually realize that, oh, well, I need to go on and give it all I can on the court, and I got to have some great players behind me or playing beside me so I can finally win that NBA championship and have a ring around my finger. But oh, shut your mouth. James Harden, like I said, is just a drama queen, and based on all of this now, it's never going to change. So
no, and this comes off the heels of the organization denying him a trade, denying to trade him anywhere. So that's when it all came down, is when they decided not to trade him because they didn't want to take their championship hopes away. Right now, the 76ers are probably thinking this.
He's made a huge mistake.
Wait. What sort of championship hopes do they have? Because, yes, the Sixers do have a stacked team, but you got so many huge egos on the same side of the ball with James Harden and Joel Embiid, of course. And let's not forget that Joel Embiid is coming off an MVP season this past year where he was actually named MVP. Much well-deserved, by the way. But, that's pretty much it. Tyrese Maxey is doing everything he can, but James Harden driving the drama train, and Joel Embiid also complaining about Lord knows what at this rate. The Sixers are going to be more about complaining than they are about playing an actual game, and it may work out well for maybe the first few games of the season, but come the middle and towards the end of the regular season, it might come back to bite them straight in the butt. And honestly, unless the 76ers can actually get out of this 10-year period of absolute HE double hockey sticks, I just don't know what to say anymore. The Sixers have had the worst amount of luck since the 2013 season, and especially when they put all their hopes in that guy from Washington, Markelle Fultz, and not to mention Mr. Ben Simmons. Oh, God. Don't even get me started about that clown. But the Sixers, they need some help. And them being surrounded by all this drama is not making it any better.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree with that, and let's get into some other NBA news, why don't we? And then we can wrap up and move on to the NFL. So, other NBA news, including New York Knicks guard Josh Hart got a big payday, 4 years, $81 million.
Much deserved, because he, along with Jalen Brunson, were able to guide the Knicks to the playoffs this year. Much deserved.
Very well deserved.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The deal delivers Hart a total of $94 million through the 2027 and 2028 season.
Good for
Nice.
him. I mean, because the Knicks, I think the Knicks they're finally now going to be a more legitimate threat, for years to come, because the more chemistry that they have with their players and their young, star players, they can definitely become a more credible threat, down the road.
Definitely. Miami Heat forward Jamal Cain is signed his qualifying offer and is returning on a 2-way contract.
Interesting.
And if you're a fan of college sports, listen to this. Or if you're a fan of college sports and high school, listen to this. Cooper Flagg, arguably the best prospect in high school basketball, announced he's reclassifying from 2025 to 2024.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. That means Kentucky, Duke, and Carolina, along with these other high-profile schools, are going to come calling if they haven't already.
Yep, absolutely. Free agent guard Javonte Smart is signing an Exhibit 10 deal with the 76ers. He's previously had 2-way deals with Miami and Milwaukee. Former Duke guard J.D. Stewart has agreed on a training camp deal with the Boston Celtics. He'll compete for a 2-way contract.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. And then finally, one more piece of news. Trenton Flowers, a 5-star recruit in the class of 2023, has decommitted from Louisville and will sign with the Adelaide 36ers of the National Basketball League in Australia.
Oh, wow. So he's skipping college and playing international.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Very much so. Really, that's it. NBA news is pretty light this week. Gotta love it. What you got, Joey?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with that.
Yeah, it's a pretty light news week, so there isn't a lot to get into. Before we get into the NFC North and NFC South coverage, you know what? Since we're going into the NFL talks, might as well talk about the first preseason games. First preseason games happened this past week, and there was a lot. Of course, I watched my Chicago Bears take on the Tennessee Titans, and that was a really good performance. And I saw a lot of things I liked from the Bears. Obviously, their presence on defense was a lot more forward than usual. A lot of takeaways, a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and breaking down the pocket, and just they had a couple interceptions, couple fumble recoveries, couple takeaways. They looked really, really good on defense. Offense, they looked pretty decent too. I can already see Justin Fields and DJ Moore becoming a good threat, man.
Oh yeah.
That past 65 years.
I would say Chicago may have looked good, but there was one team that did not look good.
I think Joey's reading my mind. Yep.
They're already looking good in true season form, getting shut out 27-0 by the New York Jets.
Oh, Zach Wilson, our favorite Cougar hunter, didn't throw an interception. Oh, good for you.
Maybe because he finally settled down.
The ball over either. But
oh my.
In all seriousness, though, there is a major question to ask for going to the NFL preseason, and that is the fact is who is going to finally stop the Baltimore Ravens' undefeated preseason streak? Because with their 20-19 win over the Eagles, I believe that's now 24 straight wins for the Ravens in the preseason.
Kevin unmuted. That means he's got something to say. Hit it up, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, preseason to me, and I'm not saying this because the Raiders spanked the fuck out of our practice squad. I'm just saying it. Preseason don't make a fuck to me. Because let me just throw this statistic in, and this is how lopsided it is. The New England Patriots of 2007 went 0-4 in the preseason and then proceeded to go 17-0. Not to mention years later, the Detroit Lions went 4-0 in the preseason and proceeded to go 0-17. So
The next
the
season,
preseason just does not make a fuck to me whatsoever. I mean, it's fun to watch certain young players that's like under the radar kind of show out it is and find those kind of diamond in the dirt type of players. But other than that, it's just pleh. Who cares?
Hey,
mid.
I mean,
Kevin,
me,
at least you can say this. This is the one time a year where Randy will actually have one on you.
Yes.
One and only
No
time.
preseason.
But yeah, I mean, watching the preseason always kind of reminds me of that, of like I think it was like the 3 or 4 weeks in the 1988 NFL season where teams were finding police officers and construction workers and chefs and everything like that to suit up for a few games and see what they were made of.
Yeah, ain't it? Before I continue, quick shout out in the chats to our boy Tony Justice of the Nation's Corner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Our boy there, of course, driving those roads, man, making that money and delivering goods to the people of the world. Right? And of course, Tony Justice, our boy there in Nature's Corner, as we always say. How you doing? And we'll see you in a few hours, brother. Also gotta give a shout out to, of course, William Gyron, who's also in the chat as well. Hopefully,
William Gyron, good evening, sir.
I hope you're having a good evening, sir, and enjoying the show as always. We always
Hey William, with all due respect, can you check on your boy and see how he's doing after his Raiders got a not a meaningful win in the preseason? Because I'm pretty sure he's probably doing cartwheels as we speak because he's so happy that Tom Brady, the part owner of the Raiders, is yeah.
And also, Tony Justice, real quick, if you ever see CD Lamb this season, would you mind telling him to learn how to catch or how to CD ball?
That's still the greatest thing ever on this show.
Well, I say maybe. Steven.
Really?
Yes, I made a wonder why how much you love Oasis.
There's better songs than that. Just saying.
You're not ashamed of Nova in the sky. I'll tell you that much. But anyways, some sad news. Unfortunately, former Seahawks and Ravens running back Alex Collins unfortunately passed away in a motorcycle accident at the age of 28 years old.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. He unfortunately was hit. He was pronounced dead on the scene.
This past spring, playing for the USFL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Mm.
So yeah, fortunate news there. Let's see what else. Let's see what else that Mr. Adam Schefter has to say. Of course.
Well, let's not forget about the 2 running backs that got signed to 1-year deals.
Go ahead, name it, Joey. I don't have it offhand right now.
Dalvin Cook has agreed to a 1-year, I believe it's $8.6 million to join the New York Jets.
You would be correct.
Yep.
And Ezekiel Elliott, I believe, has signed a 1-year, I think it's like $6-point-something million deal to join the New England Patriots.
Hey, maybe Zeke can line up as center, just in case if their center goes out with an injury this year.
Yeah, because we all know how that turns out. Look at Kevin.
Well, I mean, Bill Belichick has to have a reliable center to deflate the football, so I think he's going to make Zeke sit on the football.
And then he'll donate those deflated balls to the Salvation Army.
But no, in all seriousness, guys, I like this move because if we know how Zeke is washed, how fast he got washed, but we know where NFL players kind of get a second juice of life by going to New England. Cough, Randy Moss, guys like that.
Yes, that's a good call.
Burkhead, all those guys get a second chance at the NFL as a resurrection under Bill Belichick. So we'll see if Zeke can get it going. Belichick will scheme him up. So
And trust me,
the best for him, especially now that he's not a damn Cowboy.
And trust me when I say this. There is nobody better for Zeke to go learn under than Bill Belichick. I mean, come on. We know his history. We know who he is. He's a Hall of Fame coach, future Hall of Fame coach. If Zeke wants to revitalize his career, to me, he made the right move going to New England in a sense that he can learn from the best. That there's a guy who can help bring him in, that can help bring the talent out of him. That is actually there. Look, we give Zeke so much shit. And you got to think that first season he came out with a bang. He was touted as one of the best.
Oh yeah.
Came out that first season. That second season he dealt with injuries. Injuries happen. We know how that works.
Yeah.
But this is
honestly,
an opportunity for Zeke to really, really, really showcase who he is, and I think Bill Belichick can bring that out of him.
Absolutely, and like I said on the show a few weeks ago, maybe a new environment would make or can help turn Zeke into the all-star player that he was in that first season.
Absolutely.
And maybe, just maybe, he can help, change the career of their quarterback, Mac Jones, because Mac Jones last year was not that good.
Absolutely.
Not good.
And of course, also, Zeke is also going to be splitting carries with Ramondre Stevenson. So, I mean, maybe Ramondre Stevenson can teach him a thing or two.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's a credible back when he's healthy. He's a power runner. And he can definitely bring some leadership and some veteran, leadership, to this team. That is if he can stay healthy and stay focused. And Belichick is the right guy to be at the helm for him.
Yep, I agree. Some other news going on. Of course, earlier today it was announced that Bryce Young will be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, Steven's favorite team.
No.
Won the number one.
And it was also announced that Anthony Richardson has been named the starter for the Indianapolis Colts.
Absolutely. Yep. And then opening day starter, another opening day to start his second straight preseason game, and in line to start the opening day will be none other than the number 2 pick, C.J. Stroud.
Interesting.
See if Houston's gambles in this draft come to fruition, because they single-handedly stole the draft.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, C.J. Stroud, he did kind of have a very, very forgettable performance in the first preseason game. But I mean, how many times have we seen performances like this before from future Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
Yep.
I mean, it's a brand new league. It's the NFL. It's the majors.
Yep.
Might I add? So, I mean, some quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud are going to have a bad first game or so because they're just trying to get their feet wet.
It's like an independent wrestler going to NXT. It's the
exactly
all different balls to get there.
Honestly, a lot of preseason to me is a bunch of vanilla plays to try to just examine other players, not really necessarily the quarterbacks. Like, you'll see the most basic plays. Like, you'll never see the plays that other players or other teams run in the regular season, because they vanilla down the playbook in preseason. Because for one, you don't want to give your plays away for someone to scout before the season, whatever you've been working on. And for number two, you want to see the other players, the linebackers, the defensive line, the offensive line, see who you're going to keep, who you're going to cut, who's moving up. It's not necessarily about quarterback play. And if it makes C.J. Stroud feel any better, don't feel bad. Bryce Young got shut the fuck out in the Carolina's preseason game, and Anthony Richardson on the first pass of the game threw a pick for the Colts. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
regular season is where we'll see what they really are.
Yeah, it's a barometer. It's not a barometer on the quarterback per se. It's more, they make it seem that way. Obviously, the media does, and obviously the sportscasters do on the show on games. But it's more or less a barometer and see how well, like you said, see how well your running backs do, how tight your defense looks, how those young backs and linebackers, how they do in those schemes and formations. And like you said, it's a lot of basic stuff. It's not central plays that are like secret plays that are important to your team's playbook. It's going to be regular crossing routes, regular slants. It's not going to be nothing special. to the point where, like you said, it gives your plans away, it gives your plays away. That way they know what to expect when they come face you, whether it be week 1 or week 17. So I agree with that 100%. And there's a lot of great players, like you said, who are going to be trying. And speaking of, we talk about quarterbacks, Kevin, your boy, Brock Purdy. It was announced today that he has been cleared for practice without an off day.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's basically saying that he's fully 100% cleared and ready to go. Definitely should be starting by week 1, coming out at Pittsburgh, and should be ready. And I look for him to actually get a couple of series in this next preseason game, at least with him and some of the vets. Maybe not all the starters. I'm looking at toward the younger vets like Ayuk, maybe Elijah Mitchell. I don't see the players who have the most injury risk. I do not see playing. Kittle, McCaffrey, Trent Williams. I don't see none of them guys playing because they've already done it for so long. They've been there for years and years. They don't need preseason.
No. Listen to this little stat. Listen to this little thing from Adam Schefter. Exactly 4 weeks from last night, the Bills played the Jets the first Monday Night Football game of the season. It'll be Aaron Rodgers' Jets debut, Dalvin Cook's Jets debut versus his younger brother, James, Damar Hamlin's first game since January 3rd, and a potential return for Von Miller.
Ooh, very good Monday Night Football game.
Mm-hmm.
I agree on that. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be great. Also, real quick, scrolling through news. Let's see here. Oh, the Colts are signing former Browns safety Ronnie Harrison to a 1-year contract.
Interesting.
Yep, interesting about that. Cowboys and All-Pro guard team captain Zach Martin have agreed on a rework deal. The new deal will pay him north of $18 million in each of the next 2 years. Martin was scheduled to make $13.5 million this year and $14 million next year. So it's an additional $8.5 million, and both years are guaranteed.
Finally.
Bad news for the Panthers already, man. Yesterday during the preseason game, or not yesterday, but the couple games before, Panthers wide receiver Terrence Marshall was carted off the practice field. More problems with the Panthers. Oh,
Steven, looks like your favorite team is going to struggle this season, as always.
Welcome to football here, Carolina. Enjoy your stay.
yeah. It's going to affect your picks for this year, man. When we do our pick'ems coming up for the regular season,
Carolina 0-17.
You're going to be like Randy at the bottom of the barrel.
He'll be looking down the barrel of today.
You and Randy are going to be like that meme of James Franco at the gallows going, first time.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has partnered with Brand Jordan. Little note there. This week, Jonathan Taylor, despite being at odds with the Indianapolis Colts over his contract situation, may be returning to training camp this week. Let's see. Saints head coach Dennis Allen said that rookie quarterback Kendry Miller has suffered a knee sprain during that preseason game and is undergoing additional testing and imaging for further evaluation. And Jadeveon Clowney met with the Jacksonville Jaguars back on Sunday, and he also met with the Ravens already. So, few news notes. I'm not going to go through everything, but we got a lot to get to, obviously. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III returned to practice today after being out since early in the camp with a groin injury. So, good news there for that. Let's see here. Here we go. Browns linebacker Jacob Phillips, a former starter who finished last season on injured reserve due to a pectoral injury, will miss the season with a torn pec.
Oh, dang.
Man. Let's see. Hey, and Joey, after your Commanders won their preseason game, they gave the ball to the new owner, Josh Harris.
I'm telling you what, yes, my Commanders still may not have a great season coming up, but I'm very excited for the future. I'm very excited to see what Josh Harris is going to do for us. Because at this point, just the fact that Dan Snyder's no longer the owner makes me just want to celebrate all season.
Yeah.
If only Oakland A's fans can say the same for Fisher and Cavill.
Same thing for White Sox with freaking Jeremy Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
Right here's a little nugget. Bengals say that Joe Burrow is progressing as he should after his first public throwing session. So hopefully it won't be long until we see Joe Cool back out there. Oh, here we go. Free agent running back Kareem Hunt is leaving Indianapolis without a deal. Colts made an offer, but two sides were unable to reach an agreement as there is still continued interest from other teams.
I bet so. He didn't want to pay Jonathan Taylor. I can imagine him not wanting to pay Kareem Hunt either.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Oh, but the Colts signed veteran free agent running back Jason Huntley and veteran free agent tight end Ricky Seals-Jones. There you go. That makes sense.
The difference between 0-17 and 17-0.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Colts.
Not in this decade.
Not in this decade. I love that line. Let's see. Also, right here is another one real quick. The final update. Teddy Bridgewater's deal. As we learned last week, Teddy Bridgewater was signing with the Detroit Lions. His deal is $5 million, including half of that guaranteed. All right. And that is the final news note for the NFL. As I said, it's been a slow news week, as Eddie Trunk would like to say on his show. We got a lot in. Here we go, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our discussion on the NFC North and NFC South. And we're going to start off with the crap division known as the NFC South. That is, of course, the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Oh, where to begin?
Yeah, I think I will start this one off. Like I mentioned in my intro, this is going to be the trashiest division in NFL football this year because you got quarterbacks who have either never taken an NFL snap, are so washed up that they don't know what to do. One who doesn't have a lot of experience, and not to mention a guy who thinks he can transfer from the silver and black to black and gold and thinks he can do something. Yeah, not gonna happen, buddy. And yes, I'm referring to Mr. Derek Carr. And of course the one who's never played an NFL snap like a regular season NFL snap is of course Bryce Young. The guy who doesn't have a lot of experience is Desmond Ridder. And the guy who's so washed up and ain't even funny is Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting season for the NFC South. And I am going to call it right now. I honestly don't care who wins this trashy division this year. I'm not even going to give a number 1 through a 4 like I am for all the other conferences because this division is so trashy, it's not even going to be worth watching this year. So, with that being said, the team that's going to win this division is going to do so with a losing record. I'm calling it right now.
Oh, this is a huge pile of dirt. Exactly what this is. It's a huge pile of dirt. as Claudio would say. It is just terrible.
Or trash cans that need to be set on fire.
Oh yeah, Basura. Dude, I don't even know where to begin. All these teams they need help real bad, and not even freaking. Dude, this team is so complex. These teams are so complex and hard to figure out. Bill Nye, the science guy, can't even fix them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really saying something.
Oh
there.
God, Randy's predictions are in the chat. So let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Breaking news: the entire NFC South is being traded to the Canadian Football League. We wish them well their future endeavors. Go fight, win, eh?
Dang.
Oh, William. Oh, Randy. Once again, you know how to entertain. To me, it could go either way. I'm already saying the Panthers are at the bottom of this.
Oh my God, Randy. I absolutely love this. Breaking news. The entire NFC South is being traded away to the Canadian Football League. Good luck to their future endeavors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have just read that. More news at 11. Let's see.
Oh.
It's a tough one to call because obviously, be serious. This is not the best of the division.
Fight win A.
I'll say this much.
Hilarious.
Like I said, Panthers at the bottom of the division. I think the Saints will be the top, and then in between is up in the air. I don't know. Kevin, please help me out here.
Don't look for answers for me because I'm going to piss a lot of people off hearing this.
Oh boy.
Here.
Let's go.
I got a
Here we go.
good
Go ahead
idea.
and hit the floor, Kev.
The loser of this division should play the winner of the Canadian Football League for whoever wins takes the bottom of that division.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Tampa's going to be at the bottom of the bottom. Like, they're going to be bad. I think Tampa's going to be at the bottom of the barrel. I think they'll win more games because of their own division and how bad it is. So I'm going to say Tampa's going to be fourth. Tampa's going to be fourth in that division. And I think their record's going to be about, I'm going to say 5 to 6 wins. 5 wins on the lower end. So I think they'll go 5 and what, 12? 5 and 12?
Yes.
Yes, they're going to go 5 and 12. And the only 5 wins, 4 of them's going to come against the NFC South. In third place, and you know what? These 3 here, I can really see going either way. But
You can flip-flopping the 3 of them. It's great.
yeah, the third place, I'm going to go New Orleans because, I mean, I know everybody, Derek Carr's a good guy, but doesn't mean he's a good quarterback. And for crying out loud, this jabroni had Devontae Adams, and he still found a way to stink it up. So I can't imagine what he's going to do with Slant Boy out there who misses about – listen, here's what I got to say about Michael Thomas. And I mean this, and I don't like to joke about serious events like this, but here's what I'm saying. DeMar Hamlin had a literal cardiac arrest on the field and came back before Michael Thomas did from injury. For crying out loud.
That's
Be
true.
missing the
That's
next
true.
3 years in the
Very much
NFL.
so.
Who knows what you got? Alvin Kamara suspended 3 games because he beat the hell out of a woman. But nope, don't go gamble. Don't go gamble because you get a whole season suspension. Ask Calvin Ridley. But I digress. What I'm saying is I don't trust the Saints. Dennis Allen is a shit head coach of an offensive guy. I mean, no wonder Drew Brees said, get me the fuck out of here. I'm done. He got sick of this shit. Dennis Allen's horrible. Defense is okay. I mean, they're a bunch of old guys who are about to enter their AARP retirement funds. But, I mean, their defense is okay. I just don't trust Derek Carr. I don't trust Kamara when he's out. And I don't trust Slant Boy because he's never going to damn stay healthy. I like Chris Olave, though. He's a good young guy. But and here's where it gets tricky. I swear. I think I didn't get my wins on that, but I think the Saints win 6 to 7 games. I think they squeeze out 7, go 7-10. I mean, I think they will. Again, I think they beat up on the NFC South. They beat each other up. That's where their only wins come from. Here is where it gets tricky. Honestly, I'm going to say Carolina is going to finish second. Possibly win the division. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. I think Carolina and Atlanta finish both 8-9. They both are tied for the division. I think Atlanta gets the tiebreaker with the win at the end. It's gonna come down to the end of the week. So I think it's gonna be 8-9. And the only reason I say that, and I even got Carolina that high, Carolina they played pretty damn well at the end of last year. With all jokes aside, like they found their bread and butter just running the football. So if Bryce Young can make a couple plays here, you bring in a veteran savvy running back like Miles Sanders from Philadelphia who knows about running the football. You bring him in. I mean, you got a Band-Aid outside. I mean, Adam Thielen's not your franchise answer, but he's someone who can stop the bleeding at receiver and make a couple catches for you. I mean, you got a decent squad who can beat up on the Bucks and the Saints. I mean, for crying out loud. You ain't going to beat the Eagles or the 49ers or the Cowboys, but you know what? You can play in the NFC South.
That's debatable on the Cowboys.
And the reason why I say, last but not least, Atlanta will win this division. Yes, their quarterback is a big question mark. I mean, I don't even trust the damn jabroni. He played in a Division II school. Where Desmond Ridder even play? Was it like Cincinnati or something? I don't trust the kid. But Atlanta draft, I trust, and this is how much I put my faith in him. Bijan Robinson probably is the best player in the whole NFL draft this past season. I mean, this guy is already, they're talking about Saquon Barkley 2.0 without the injuries. Like, they're talking about this guy is going to be a generational talent. Hell, even Madden thinks so. And Madden's crucial on players. They already got this guy as an 85 overall rookie. Ain't even played a game yet with superstar X Factor development. I mean, Jesus Christ, they think really high of him. So I think Bijan is probably not only going to be the best player on his team, I think that's the best player in that division. And I think Bijan's going to get a lot of touches, a lot of runs, a lot of looks, whether at running back or whether catching the ball at the backfield. Kyle Pitts is yet to show us George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews type numbers, but I will give him some slack because his quarterback's been absolute dog shit. Like The Rock said in that viral meme, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I ever seen. That goes to Atlanta Falcons quarterbacks over the last 4 years. They've been shit. So maybe Desmond Ridder develops, maybe, but I'm leaning toward this defense who acquired all-pro safety Jesse Bates, who has already got an all-pro corner at A.J. Terrell, who ended up getting a couple of good inside linebackers and some defensive line help, and signed Calais Campbell, the old Ravens defensive end. I mean, so I think Atlanta's defense is probably the best defense in this division. I think that's what's going to keep them on top. But I think it's a shit show. It's 8-9 for both of them. And I just feel bad for whoever they have to play that has to waste their time to travel in the first wild card game to put a smacking on their ass in Atlanta or Carolina, because we already know they're gonna either be hosting a home game for one, which is disrespectful. I mean, and I hate the Cowboys, but damn, last year was atrocious. The Bucs hosted a playoff game against the Cowboys, who have dominated for the most of the season, and they had to go on the road. That's bullshit. And it's going to happen like that too. Dallas or Philadelphia, whoever anybody had winning the East, or San Francisco or Seattle or Detroit, Minnesota, one of them 6 teams is going to have to go to Carolina or Atlanta for a playoff game. And either one of these 6 teams are going to beat the living dog shit out of either one of those teams. I hate to say it. But yeah, that's how I think this division stacks up. It's awful. I think they should be able to go head to head with the Canadian Football League and replace some of them teams. Hell, I think they should all relocate. Just get the hell out of this NFL. Go somewhere else.
Horrible people. Yes, we are.
And speaking of horrible, this division sucks. I mean, all 4 of these teams are hot garbage. I mean, Kevin, honestly, I agree with your picks 100%. And I'll call it right now. The Falcons and the Saints, the Falcons and the Panthers, if they are the last game, I think the Falcons will intercept Bryce Young, pick 6, game-winning touchdown. Atlanta wins the division on the final game. I mean, there's not much more that I can add to this. That all of these teams in this division will not be among the best teams in the NFL. I mean, my God. I mean, the Bucs are going to be garbage. The Saints are going to be, I mean, Derek Carr's a nice addition, but he's not consistent. And as you called him, Slant Boy, a.k.a. Michael Thomas, he can't even stay healthy, and can't even stay on the football field. And the Panthers, Bryce Young, he's a rookie. We'll see how he does, this year. I think he'll be pretty good, but I don't think he's going to lead them to the division. But as bad as I hate to say it, no, not because Carolina's my quote-unquote favorite team in sarcasm. I think that the Falcons, they just have a better chance at winning this division. And I agree with your records, Kevin. 8-9 for both the Panthers and the Falcons. And Atlanta takes the division. The Saints are third with at least 6 or 7 wins. And then the Bucs are down there at the bottom of the barrel at 5 wins. This division sucks.
Yeah.
And God bless the people that have to pay season ticket prices to go to these shit show of a games.
Yeah, I mean, if I
Bless your hearts.
if I do have to pick 1 through 4, I will agree with Kevin and Steven. Same records also.
All right.
But now let's get to a wide open conference. Why don't we?
Yep, and that is, of course, the NFC North. And the NFC North is obviously Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Green Bay Packers. And I'll gladly start this one off. It's wide open, as they say, because obviously no Aaron Rodgers in the division. No Allen Lazard on Green Bay. Obviously, there's new blood on all sides of the teams. You got Justin Fields with possibly a revamped offense, definitely a revamped defense. You look at that. You look at Detroit, who last year made a lot of noise last year and really proved that they could be. I mean, they won some critical games and spoiled a lot of teams in even Green Bay in their respective division last year. Even shocked them and spoiled some of their playoff hopes. So, I mean, Detroit, if anything, will play a spoiler again. And that is a possibility because they got the tools. They can get it done. They proved that. So I'm not doubting it with the least. I think this is Chicago's division to win, not to lose, but to win. Because I think they made the right moves in the free agency. They traded down and got a great player. They got DJ Moore off of free agency, which DJ Moore I think is going to be one of the biggest assets the Bears has. They got offensive linemen. They got cornerbacks. They got new linebackers. They revamped that defense. And understand, so preseason is shit. Preseason don't mean anything. But if you took a look at that preseason game from this week against Tennessee, that preseason game, that defense was swarming the quarterback. They were it was like a bunch of bees who got pissed off and attacked the nearest person near them. They were storming the quarterback. They were getting takeaways, interceptions, fumble recoveries. They were causing disruptions in the offense of the opposite team, and they were doing a really good job. If they keep those key pieces together, I feel like that this could be Chicago. I don't think they're going to have an outstanding record. I'm not saying they're going to be like 13-4 or whatever, but I think they'll do decent. I think they'll either pull 9-8 or 10-7. Maybe depending on how they play. It just depends on how Fields plays, and depending on how confident he is throwing to his new targets. So I think with that, I think it'll be 10-7. Bears lead the division. I'm gonna go with. It's a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Minnesota because they're the most seasoned of all the offenses with Kirk Cousins and all that. Understandably so. They're without Dalvin Cook now. Dalvin Cook's now in New York, but they still have Justin Jefferson, who's I mean to be one of the best receivers in the league by far. Guy who had outstanding plays last year. Justin Jefferson, and just I think. But the big question on it is, which Kirk Cousins shows up? Will we see Washington Commanders Kirk Cousins, or will we see on fire when he is Minnesota Vikings Kirk Cousins? We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be between them two, Detroit in third. With Minnesota, I'm going to give them probably a 9-8. Detroit, it's a tough one. I think they're going to be below 500, but they're once again going to do what they do best, especially last year, and that's play spoiler. And I think that's going to be. I'm going to give them probably a 7-10 record, but I feel like they're gonna make some noise again. And then Green Bay, just because I don't like them, nah. But in reality, Green Bay's in a rebuilding mode. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is gone. Alan Lazard is gone. Randall Cobb is more than likely out the door. He's out the door. He's with the Jets now, more than likely, or will be, depending on what's going on with that. But they lost a lot of key components of the rebuilding around Jordan Love. And so that's going to be a real big question. I think, and I don't think the Packers, I'm not saying they're going to be like 4-13. That would be unfair. It would be severely unfair. I think that the record will be 6-11 or 5. I think it's going to be 6-11 because I just feel like they'll have some games where they will win, some games they need to win, or a couple games they really don't need to win. But as far as facing a revamped Bears or even Detroit, I don't think the Packers are going to fall. Hopefully, we'll find out game 1 of the regular season when the Bears play the Packers. But that's where I see it. I see it in order: Bears, Vikings, Lions, Packers.
All right, well, I'm going to go next, and I'm actually going to be in disagreement with those picks.
Okay. It's fair.
All right, so I'm going to go from 4-1 because that's just how I like to do things. Obviously, number 4 is, I will agree with this, Ezra, the Green Bay Packers, because this is definitely a rebuilding season for them because Aaron Rodgers is finally gone. Jordan Love finally takes his first full season at the helm, and he doesn't really have an offense other than the dual-headed running back of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to really help out Love. And the Packers' O-line is definitely not the best. So, I mean, they got several holes to fill, so this is definitely going to be a rebuilding season for the Packers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I mean, obviously, all 3 of the teams, Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago, they all have a chance to win this NFC North. The Vikings, they may have a little bit more experience with Kirk Cousins and Alexander Madison, and let's not forget the number 1 receiver in the entire NFL right now, Jay Jettis. And the defense, I would say the defense definitely looks strong. Chicago, they did very well here in the offseason. They did very well in the offseason, getting a true number 1 receiver for Justin Fields, and that, of course, is DJ Moore. and making a few splashes and adding some players on defense. And Detroit, they also did pretty well here in the offseason. They were able to get some players to help boost up that defense a little bit, and to boost up the offense as well. Now, Detroit is going to have some, I would say, some difficulty, seeing as how some of their players are either suspended for 6 games or suspended for the full season because of the whole gambling issue.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to haunt Detroit that much.
No.
But I would say Detroit could definitely play a little spoiler. But here's my 3 through 1. Number 3, it's going to be very, very, very close. But I'm going Chicago at number 3. I'm going Chicago at number 3. It's going to be an absolute dogfight between Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. So, this division battle could come down to the final week of the regular season. And honestly, I hope it does. Because that just means more intensity, more drama for all 3 of those teams. But I just think I still think Chicago could use a little bit of help, and they may wind up in 3rd place, but it's not going to be by much. I would say for Green Bay, I would say 6-11. I think that's fair for Green Bay. For Chicago, I'm going to go at the worst 9-8, but at the best 10-7.
Okay.
2nd place, I am actually going to go Detroit. I was thinking about putting Detroit as the winner of the NFC North, but I feel like my gut is telling me to put Detroit in 2nd place. And honestly, I can see Detroit having the exact same record as Chicago does, whether it's 9-8 or 10-7. Because we all know Detroit is going to play spoiler. Because they have played spoiler quite a bit the past couple years, especially last season. Detroit can be trailing for 59 minutes in a game, or actually, may I say, 59 minutes and 45 seconds. All it could take is those last 15 seconds for them to actually pull out a miracle. And Detroit is actually known for that. So it will not surprise me to see Detroit go to 2nd, but it also will not surprise me if Chicago goes up to 2nd. So that means there's only one team left, and that is Minnesota. Because Minnesota, they have a defense that looks great on paper, that can actually give opposing quarterbacks a living nightmare if they choose to really buckle up on the defense this season. And of course, yes, we do give Kirk Cousins a rough time. We do, because we all know that Kirk Cousins is not that good when it comes to prime time. He always plays his best games when he's at the 1 o'clock slate, it seems like. And of course, yes, Dalvin Cook is gone. But honestly, this is a win-win for Alexander Madison, because now Madison can fully and firmly establish himself as a top runner who can actually make plays, who can actually catch passes in the backfield, who can actually take over this entire Minnesota Vikings run game. So I think it can honestly happen. And of course, like I said earlier, a team that has the number 1 receiver in the entire history of the NFL right now, Jay Jettis. Jay Jettis is a part of the 99 Club in the Madden video games for a reason. The dude is absolutely elite. He'll find a way to make a catch, make a play, score a touchdown. It doesn't matter if you double team him, triple team him, or heck, even quadruple team him. Jay Jettis will still find a way to get to the ball. And as long as Kirk Cousins can get him that ball whenever Alexander Madison is not taking off, I think the Vikings will have just what it takes to win this division. It's going to be a very close margin. As a matter of fact, I will say both Detroit and Chicago 10-7, Minnesota 11-6. It's going to be an absolute dogfight, hands down.
Steven?
The NFC North is a very
Just remember, Steven. Just remember.
Yes.
That's all I gotta say.
Real quick, Randy, what are your thoughts on this division if you're still here? So I will say that the NFC
Randy's
North.
never on. What the fuck are you talking about?
What's that?
Randy's never on. What the fuck are you talking about?
I know. If he's still there in the chat, that's what I'm talking about. But
Are you sure
anyways,
you know what you're talking about?
what's that?
Are you sure you know what you're talking about?
Yeah. So the NFC North is a very interesting division because for the first time in probably 30 years, the division is so wide open because there's no Brett Favre and there's no Aaron Rodgers in sight in Green Bay. And this could be Chicago's division. This could be Detroit's division. This could be the Vikings division again. I don't think the Packers are going to win it again. I think Green Bay will be in last place. I think at best they'll finish 9-8, but at worst they'll finish 8-9. Chicago, I have Chicago finishing third. I think Justin Fields will make strides, and I think he will make a significant improvement at quarterback this year for Chicago. And I say at best, Chicago goes 10-7. At worst, they go 9-8. And then here is the toss-up, and that is the Lions and the Vikings. And I am torn because it could be either one of these two teams. And I am going to go with the Vikings winning this division, but I have Detroit and Minnesota both finishing at 11-6. And Detroit, I will go ahead and say it right now, is one of my wild card teams. So Detroit still makes it into the playoffs for me, but they barely missed the division title, but they still make it into the playoffs. Minnesota, I think, goes 11-6. Detroit goes 11-6. Chicago, at best, 10-7. At worst, 9-8. And then for the Packers, either 9-8 or 8-9. This division is so wide open. Like, more wide open, obviously, than the NFC South. I mean, this is anybody's division to win.
It is. It's anybody's division, but I'm going to go off of some numbers off of the end of last year. And I know last year, and I'm also going after off seasons. Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. Green Bay is a circus show. I think Green Bay's still going to win 6 games. They're going to be in 4th place. I agree, Ezra. They still have the best running back duo in the NFL by far, in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. So they're going to win a couple of games off of that, and having a top 10 defense with Rashawn Gary and guys like that, and one of the, if not the top 2 corner in football, and Jair Alexander, they're going to win some games. I mean, they're going to win some just hard-fought, dug out the dirt games and play spoiler to their own division, yes. So they're not going to be at the bottom of the bucket when it comes to like the whole entirety of the NFL. They'll probably be lower end, top 10 worst, but they're not going to be a bottom 5 team in the whole league. No, they're going to win 6 games, and this is where I kind of have to disagree with Ezra on this part. I think the Bears will finish 3rd. And I'm just going off they did a lot. Like, they moved the needle from a quarter of a tank empty to 3/4 of a tank full. They did a lot. But I don't think it's enough to be top dog yet. I think losing David Montgomery hurts a lot more than people realize when that was your number one feature back. And losing him to a division rivalry at that in the Detroit Lions, that's tough. That's a tough blow. And I like Chicago drafting the offensive tackle. That's good. But there's still a whole other side of the line that they had not revamped starting. So there's a lot of edge rushers that rush on that side of the line. That side of the line could get Justin Fields hurt if he's not careful. That's what I'm worried about. And I do like the defensive additions of Tremaine Edmonds. Like, he's one of the top 6 linebackers in football. So I do like that. I will say that. And I like how they went out and tried to solidify that defense. It's going to be a whole lot better than last year. I'll give them credit, and especially the DJ Moore. I don't think it's possible for teams to go from worst to first, because technically they got the number 1 pick. So even though the Texans we know with the eye test were worse, the Bears were literally the worst. I think they are drastically improved, but I think they go 8-9 in this first year under this regime with this new play style. But I do think they put up some points. I think Justin Fields takes a leap. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, especially running the ball. I like it. I like it a lot. And here's where it gets interesting. I'm actually going to disagree with everybody. I think Minnesota finished second. They took a lot of blows. They were the worst 12-win team last year in NFL history because they were the only team to have a negative point differential and win 12 games, which means one game they'd beat a bad team by 6 points or fewer or 3 points. Then they'd turn around and get beat by 37 points. So they were the most inconsistent team. And there's 2 things that really hurt the Minnesota Vikings last year, and it was their doom of death, so to speak. Their defense was god awful. This defense let Daniel Jones do what the fuck he wanted to, and he's not a top 15 quarterback. This defense was awful. I can't express it enough. That's how bad Minnesota's defense was. Like, it was literally, they should have put a bunch of damn average Joes and doctors in there to play defense than these people, because they suck. Then the offensive line. And there's 2 things Minnesota did this offseason, and that's not improve the offensive line and not improve the defense. They cut a lot of defensive players, but they never improved it. Danielle Hunter is asking to be traded. That's their best defensive player. He wants a trade. They cut Eric Kendricks, who was their former Pro Bowl linebacker. Cut him. Just cut ties with him. They're not that good. And Kirk is going to be Kirk. He's still good. I will give him that. He still will be a top 10 quarterback in this league. Justin Jefferson's the best offensive player on the planet right now. Like, good God almighty. He's going to get some points. And I like the addition of Jordan Addison. I think he's going to be a great complimentary number 2 receiver. But people don't realize Dalvin Cook was an X factor for a reason. They just let him walk. Like, come on. And everybody likes Madison, but Madison's about as questionable as Herbert is for Chicago. Like, we don't know. We don't know. You just lost your number 1 feature back. You can't expect your number 2 back to just jump up and reproduce the same kind of production. I don't trust it. And here is where I'm going to say, on paper, the Lions should be the clear out front favorite to be the winner of this division. I think the Vikings, I'm going to go ahead, but I do think on that front, the Vikings get a wild card spot. I will say that. They will go 10-7 and get a wild card spot. I think they get the 7th seed, and they're battling with, we'll talk about it next week, but Seattle for the 6th seed. But I think they get the 7th seed as a wild card. Now, number 1, I'm going the Detroit Lions. Why, you might ask? People say, oh, it's the Lions. It's a trash franchise. They'll never be good. Don't live in the past. Don't let the past fool you. Dan Campbell is the best coach in that division. By far, it's not even close. And let me bring you a stat that I thought was pretty cool. Last year, the Lions had the number 1 passing offense in the league. the number 4 rushing offense in the league, the number 1 offensive points per game in the league. They were number 1 in every offensive category in almost the whole league because everybody let the narratives get to them. Oh, Jared Goff ain't good. They traded Jared Goff. Let me just say this. Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp single-handedly took the Rams to the Super Bowl in 2018. Don't you forget that. So Jared Goff ain't no pushover. He comes to Detroit and he's slinging that rock and he's spreading the ball out. And let's not forget about the second best receiver in the whole division, by far, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, this guy is superstardom. Like, this guy is tough. He reminds me of a mixture of a Deebo Samuel and a damn A.J. Brown. Like, he can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can get handoffs. He can do end arounds. He scores touchdowns. And at the end of last year, I seen something in this team that made me just, wow, raise my eyebrows. They literally went from 0-5 to winning 7 in a row to end the season. Like, they lost. They started 0-5, and everybody thought, same old lines, this and that. And most of it was because their defense started out as the worst defense in years. Like, they gave up so much points. But you know what? Mid-season, defense turned it around. They got a guy who's going to make a Nick Bosa-type leap next year. Aiden Hutchinson might be the best pass rusher in the entire division and maybe one of the best in the entire conference. He got going. That secondary got going. Oh, by the way, they had the addition of 2 very good safeties this year too to solidify that defense. And first round pick Brian Branch from Alabama, and also they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was a Pro Bowl safety for the NFC champion Eagles. That's 2 very solid safeties. Not to mention their corners. Not to mention drafting Jack Campbell, the best middle linebacker in the draft. They literally went out to shape up that defense, and it worked. Not to mention they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs as well as brought in David Montgomery from Chicago. That backfield is stacked for Detroit. It's easy to say on paper. That's why I'm not completely sold on them. But I think this team should easily win that division if you're going off of stats and stuff, because this team, they've got it. Dan Campbell has these guys playing. Jared Goff is no pushover. He can throw that damn ball. And yes, their lines are missing a lot of players, but when I look, none of them are the top playmakers for that team. Jameson Williams maybe, but he couldn't. I'm just gonna say he can't even tie Amon-Ra St. Brown's shoes. So I think Detroit's gonna be fine. They've got a new tight end also. Everybody was worried about them giving T.J. Hawkinson to Minnesota. They went out and got a tight end that might end up being better. So yeah, I think this team's gonna win the division. I think they go 11-5. If I'm 11-6. 11-6, yeah. I think they go 11-6 and they win it all, win the division.
All right, there you go. That is our wrap up there for the divisions, NFC North and NFC South. Next week we go to the NFC East and the NFC West, which means Cowboys fans do not watch this show. Watch the show for the fun, stay for the Cowboys trashing. But no, seriously though, we will be covering both NFC East and NFC West next week. Obviously, it's going to be a great topic of discussion. Can't wait for that. I don't have any other NBA news, so real quick, Joey, you being the MLB expert around here, do you have anything big that we need to discuss from the world of Major League Baseball?
For once, no, not really, because, there really hasn't been a whole lot of splashing that's been done in baseball as of late. Yes, Atlanta continues to dominate the NL East and, quite honestly, Major League Baseball in general, but I will say, ever since they started the season on that unbelievable streak, the Tampa Bay Rays have seemed to fall off as of late, because now they found themselves in second place in the American League East behind the Baltimore Orioles. So
Yeah, and I was just reading one of their players actually is out for the season now with Tommy John surgery.
yeah, and unfortunately, Atlanta has lost a huge bat in the lineup for a foreseeable amount of time, with our second baseman Ozzy Albies headed to the injury list for I think it's hamstring soreness, I believe. So hopefully he won't be out for too long. But I will say though, this kid that we got from, I want to say it was Texas in the at the trade deadline, Nicky Lopez. I mean, he's already lighting it up for Atlanta. So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Atlanta is still in good hands. Even with Ozzy Albies on the injured list, as long as we have Nicky Lopez in there and he continues to tear it up, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm very impressed with Atlanta. I think they still have a couple of kinks to work on, like all major league teams do, but
Yeah.
if they can fix some of the problems with the starting pitching, because yes, Atlanta has a great rotation, going from Spencer Strider to Max Fried to Bryce Elder. Um, it's very difficult with those 4 and 5 spots because right now those spots are being held by Charlie Morton and the guy that we got from Tampa Bay a few weeks ago. I think his name is Chirinos, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
However you say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, they still need some help with some of the starting pitching because, yes, a lot of those guys have had good games, but they've also had bad games. But if they can fix the problems with the starting rotation before the playoffs, I could see Atlanta making a deep run to in the playoffs this year, possibly even make it to another World Series. So, I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. And as long as Matt Olson continues to absolutely slug the ball, seeing as how he leads the league in home runs right now with 43, and just behind him is Shohei Ohtani with 41 home runs for the Angels. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems that as of right now, the top teams that are really making a splash are, I would say, pretty much the same 5 teams that have ruled in baseball over the past couple of seasons. And they are the Braves, the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Rays, and surprisingly, the Orioles. So, I mean, who knows what could happen? Because, I mean, we're getting closer to the end of the season. Division races are heating up, other than the National League East, of course, because the Braves are up by, I want to say, 11 and a half or 11 games. But, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
All right, real quick on a couple things. First off, the one main thing is you talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Not only are they going through falling off with issues, with their player being out for Tommy John, but also Wander Franco being accused of improper relationship with a second underage girl.
Yeah.
That was broken today. That news
That
was
is
broken in the Dominican Republic. So that's going on with them too. Also, Randy posted his picks for the NFC North. He just posted them right here. Bears and Packers 9-8. Lions, who knows? Detroit is going to Detroit. It makes sense. That's hysterical. I love that. Detroit is going to Detroit. Yep.
But what does he mean by that? Play spoiler alert, or
he
just
thinks,
flat up suck?
Yeah, that's what he means. In other words, they're going to tank.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think Randy is falling for the trap of Detroit's going to Detroit. I mean, not so fast there, Randy. I think that Detroit is going to be better than what people are making out them to be. Because honestly, we'll get to it, but in a couple of weeks when the season starts, that Chiefs and Lions game has the Chiefs and Patriots written all over it from 2017.
It has all the makings of an upset.
Yes.
Yep. That is very true.
And then that's pretty much it I have in the world of baseball, but we're right now as far as topics go, real quick. One of the other big pieces of news. Let's see here. I thought there was some big MMA news. I thought I read something, but I'm not seeing it from what I could tell. Let's see here. Real quick here, just a couple quick news notes. Here we go in the world of boxing. Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez are set to have a big super fight coming up. They had a press conference recently. The fight will take place September 30th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Jermell Charlo is 35-1-1 with 19 knockouts. And of course, Canelo Alvarez, 59-2-2 with 39 knockouts. Canelo Alvarez is considered by many to be the best boxer in all the boxing world. So that should be a great fight, and I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be a good one. But outside of that, I really do not have anything else. Anybody have anything they want to chime in with before we end the show today?
Yeah, I do want to report another piece of sad news. In the news from the NHL, that the top Maple Leafs prospect Rodion Amirov has unfortunately passed away from a brain tumor at the young age of 21.
Holy shit!
Yeah, a brain tumor at the age of 21.
Wow.
Yes, definitely some sad news there. So
wow.
And also, I just now happen to see this. Staying with the Maple Leafs legend Bobby Baughan has passed away at the age of 86. So a couple of sad news for Toronto Maple Leafs fans and players.
yeah, very unfortunate, man. And of course, condolences and prayers go out to those two and their families and friends and fans, of course. Oh, here's some big news. David Krejci has officially retired after 16 seasons with the Boston Bruins.
Oh, yeah.
3 trips to the Stanley Cup Finals and a championship in 2011. He said injuries were the reason why he decided to retire, is because the injuries were building up too much. So, yep, he has decided they wanted that. Another quick note here. Erik Karlsson has been around for 14 seasons. He recently got traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He says now that he is something that he says in Pittsburgh, he says winning championships is something they know how to do, and I want to help them win another one. So we'll see what happens there with that. Preseason schedule has also been announced. I'm not going to go through the whole preseason schedule, but check it out on NHL.com if you want to know more about that. Anything else, guys, before we wrap it up? Steven, you got anything?
I think I'm good.
Sure, Kevin doesn't have anything. He's outside of trashing the Cowboys and whatever other team sucks, but you know.
Oh, real quick, I was just thinking
save that for next week, Kev. We got to save all the ammo for next week.
So I will say this. So real quick. So as far as Cook going to the Jets, I mean, this is an interesting move because this is a very significant move, for the Jets. But how well is he going to be with the Jets in the first couple of weeks? Because obviously he's just now getting to the team and he hasn't had a full training camp with the Jets. And
I don't mean to correct you, Stephen, but he also ain't going to have a training camp because he's already out for at least another 2 weeks with that off-season shoulder surgery.
Well, there you go.
Not even be ready till week 1 to even start practicing. As well as Breece Hall. Breece Hall is still is on the PUP list from his torn ACL.
Yep.
So they don't even really have a true running back one to start the season with.
Nope.
As of right now.
Nope. Nope, they sure don't.
Just like Sean Payton said, it's easy to win on paper, but translate it to the field first.
Exactly.
All these ESPN analysts giving their flowers to the Jets. Go beat the Bills. Let me just say that. Just go beat the Bills, because I promise you, I doubt you'll beat the Bills.
Oh,
and I know I didn't give my predictions last week, but I basically spoiled what I really think, and I think the Bills are going to win the AFC East again.
Oh, come on. That's about as obvious as the nose on your face that they're going to win the division. Dude, that pick is more predictable than what AEW is going to book next week on Dynamite. But anyway, Kevin, you jogged my memory, and thank you for saying that about ESPN analysts, because the big news today was that after 16 years with the network, Sage Steele has announced that she is leaving, that she has left ESPN.
Man, ESPN just continues to drop the ball.
Well, hold on. But Sage Steele was in a lawsuit with ESPN and their parent company, Disney, over some personal stuff that went down between the network executives and her, maybe because she said that she's leaving to exercise her right of free speech.
Wow. This is on ESPN. I mean, like, ESPN as a network will never be the same again. I mean, and this has been happening since June. I mean, you have had everybody from Van Gundy to now Mark Jackson. I mean, can keep, Steve Young, and
I'm glad you said that, because I don't know if y'all talked about it on last week's show, but the NBA Finals crew has been announced for this year, or from
no,
here
we have
on
not.
out.
Go ahead.
Mike Breen, of course. Doc Rivers and Doris Burke.
Wow, Doc Rivers back at ESPN ABC for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
I'm just all for sending the whole fucking NBA Finals to TNT and doing a broadcast over that way.
Hey, you know what? Doc Rivers for once will go to the NBA Finals and he won't choke. Oh, wait, he won't be coaching.
Might choke on the call.
He might choke doing the broadcast.
Yeah, Doris
He
Burke
might actually call the Lakers the Clippers.
Dude, I mean, I am in firm agreement with Kevin on here. Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, and everybody out there in TNT deserves the NBA Finals, because the NBA on TNT by far is the best single-handedly is the best coverage of NBA basketball.
And it never dropped off. Back when they had Marv Albert, and it was still great. And even when Marv Albert retired, it continued to be great.
You have credible analysts and play-by-play guys there.
And also, Bob Myers, the Warriors' former general manager, has took a role on ESPN as an analyst on NBA Countdown also. That was announced today. And also, speaking of analysts, I know you guys have heard FS1's Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon, how Shannon left the show.
Yep.
Well, one, deservingly so. He's sick of Skip Bayless's shit. They announced his fill-in.
Oh, no. Who?
And I love it. He's going to tear Skip Bayless apart.
Okay. Who?
Richard Sherman. He is about
no, they didn't.
Bayless. When you try me with a sorry debate analyst like Skip Bayless, that's the result you're gonna get.
I love it. Yes.
Hey, Kevin, Drake said it best than anybody at the ESPYs. Richard Sherman was interviewed one year about who he said the greatest player of all time is, and he said the greatest player of all time is Richard Sherman.
Hey, I love Sherman, man, even growing up hating him. But I got to tell you, if you guys want some really good football analysts and like a guy from a player's perspective, basically the new media, watch Richard Sherman's podcast, because, man, this guy has been spot on. Last year, let me just say, this is how you know he's a player and he understands the game within the game. He predicted 2 awards dead on. Well, 3 actually. He predicted Nick Bosa to win Defensive Player of the Year. He predicted Justin Jefferson to win Offensive Player of the Year, and he predicted Patrick Mahomes to win MVP. I said,
Yes.
that's crazy.
Yes.
What is he?
3 for 3.
What is he? Fucking Miss Cleo?
I think he read the script. That's what. He read the NFL script. He stole it from Roger Goodell's office.
Damn it! I need to write this better.
Love it.
Give me my rare steak and black coffee.
Boss, can you write a better script than that?
Boss, we need to write a better script.
That was great.
Oh, damn it! That's your job. Oh my god! But that's hilarious. It's it's just sad. Everybody ESPN's gone, and fucking Stephen A. Smith is sitting there counting his money.
And Kendrick Perkins, how the hell does he still have a job?
And Pat McAfee is just sitting there glad enough to be on the network.
Basically, Pat McAfee.
They literally flipped their shit too. I gotta mention this because I just thought about it. Dan Orlovsky, great NFL analyst, great football mind, great college game day. They took him off of college game days on Saturdays. Why?
Because
he was one of your best guys on college football Saturday.
It's sad to say, but Urinating Tree was absolutely spot on one of his YouTube videos a couple of years ago. ESPN now has become a mockery of what it used to be. They don't care about personalities. They don't care about people who care and love professional sports or collegiate sports. All they care about is clickbait and controversy and things that get people talking.
Yeah. That's why Kendrick Perkins is still on the fucking analyst, because he says some of the stupidest shit that garners the most fucking attention. But I will say I like Stephen A. Smith. He's one of the better old media voices. I like him. So I'm fine. As long I like him debating, because he actually has some reasonable takes, NBA wise. NFL, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, and MMA, yeah, not so much. I mean,
well, I guess ESPN's doing their best to try to fill them roles, because hell, the other day I know I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but had Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman on the show first take to try out for the show then too, I guess. So
what's next? I have Kendrick Perkins up there at College Game Day making an ass out of himself. I mean, it's ridiculous what this company has become. Perfect.
Yeah, when they find out they put Kendrick Perkins as the sideline reporter for the NBA Finals.
Yeah. When they find that out, this is their thought.
Take it back.
Ay. But I don't have anything else, so we'll wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen, with a great teardown of ESPN and mainly Kendrick Perkins. What a way to end the show. All right, here we go. Final thoughts from everybody. Let's start with the leader of the Niner gang, Kevin Rory. What's up?
It's good to be back on the show again, talking some football, preseason picks and standings. And next week, we get to tear into everyone's favorite team, the Dallas Cowgirls. That should be funny. Also, during that week, I will reveal my playoff seeding. Playoff? I will reveal my playoff seedings and predictions after we review the NFC East and West. So that should be fun. Find out where I got the Cowboys at and more. If you're a Cowboy fan, be like that dog. Sit in the car and roll your windows up and don't listen, because you ain't going to want to hear what I got to say. But anyway, can't wait to next week.
Playoffs? Preseason playoffs?
You kidding me? Playoffs?
All right, Joey.
Once again, another great show with you guys. Great analysis on the NFC North and NFC South. I will go and say that more than likely, I have a prior commitment for next week, so I more than likely will not be on the show next week. But I will still send in a video giving my thoughts on the NFC East and the NFC West. And I'm looking forward to in a couple weeks where we will all give our playoff predictions for the entire AFC and NFC, including our Super Bowl predictions. So, peace out.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Steven, you know the
And
drill.
absolutely. And great show with you guys. And I had a lot of fun tearing down the NFC South. And the NFC North should be a pretty good division this year, and had a lot of fun trashing ESPN at the very end, because that's what we do. And making fun of Kendrick Perkins is also easy. And making and clowning our favorite clown of the circus, James Harden. That was fun. And shout outs to Tony in the chat. Shout outs to Randy. Shout outs to William Gyron in the chat. Shout outs to everybody that watches this afterwards. And again, folks, that we are live on most Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and also on YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to like and share this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. When you do, you will see when we are live and talking about the world of sports. And great show with you guys. And we wrap up our NFL NFL divisional previews next week with the NFC East and the NFC West, and whatever news comes out of the world of sports. And whatever happens, because we'll just do it next week. And with that being said, also, before I forget, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And with that being said, Ezra, wrap us up, my friend.
Absolutely, man. This has been a great show. Love doing this. Love to have the whole crew back together. Thank you to everybody who watches this video now. Thank you to everybody who's watching it later on demand. Like I said, follow us on our social medias. Our individual ones will be posted in the video description. Also, we here at the Our Nation Sports Show would also like to send a big congratulations, and this is in the world of pro wrestling, to Izzy Moreno. Many of you know her as the Bailey superfan. Izzy, she made her pro wrestling debut this past Saturday at Mission Pro's Boiling Point event, and she did a very, very great job, an awesome job. And we are Our Nation Sports Show loves to say congratulations, and she's now taking bookings as well, so which is great. So congratulations to Izzy on a job well done. She may not come out the victor, but she definitely won the hearts of everybody watching. So congrats to her. And also, the world of wrestling continues this week with a lot of great stuff. Nation's Corner will have it for you as well, especially with the G1 finals just wrapped up. Congratulations to Tetsuya Naito on winning the G1 finals and moving on to the main event at Wrestle Kingdom. Also, big week this week. Dynamite, Rampage, all that stuff. GCW Homecoming this weekend with Maki Death Kill, Nick Gage, Maki Ito versus Matt Cardona and Steph DeLander. So it's going to be an amazing show this week coming up. 2 nights on that. And also coming up all in next week, and All Out coming up shortly after. So the lot coming up in the world of wrestling. Nation's Corner will have it for you on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And with that being said, for Randy Gyard, for Joey Thornton, Kevin Rory, and Big Stevie Wyand, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you right here next week with another great edition of Our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next week for NFC East and West previews and Super Bowl predictions. Peace out. Have a great time, everybody.